Hello, hello. Welcome to this week's episode of Who Cares? I'm your host, Taylor Wallace, and man, it has been a really busy week, and I have not slept good at all. I was out late last night watching our next guest perform at the Mohawk here in Austin, Texas, and to fit his into his busy schedule of being on tour, we had to do this episode early in the morning, so neither one of us really slept. And it's been really exciting because I've been so busy with this podcast. It is really starting to consume a lot of my time, and I'm stoked about it. It's been really fun to work on, and really nice to have something to be excited about and kind of pushing forward and gaining momentum with. So that's super cool, but I am very tired this week, and I've got a lot more episodes being recorded and then a ton of stuff to do on the back end. So I'm feeling a little frazzled, to be honest. I don't think it came across in this episode. I think I was able to be on point thanks to some well-timed coffee, but this next guest was just a pleasure to connect with and to have on the podcast. His name is Cobi. He's a singer, a songwriter, incredibly talented musician, and as some of you listeners may know, I used to be a tour manager. I tour managed a lot of well-known artists and kind of toured around the world. Living in tour buses and vans and putting on shows. And Cobi was one of my first artists that I worked for as a tour manager. We only worked together on one tour, and we did the Super Bowl together. But I made some amazing friends on that tour that are still very close to me today. Cobi and I have not seen each other or talked really much in 7 years. So it was kind of a blast from the past, and we spent a lot of this episode kind of catching up a little bit and really diving into the music industry, artistic creativity, the art of putting things out and just finishing. We talked about grief. We talked a little bit about relationships. It was a really, really good conversation. I think if you know Cobi, you're going to learn a lot about him, and this is going to be really fun for you. And if you don't know him, I think it's a really interesting conversation just listening to the perspective of a musician and what his life is like, touring and having a family and being on the road and the ups and downs and crooked paths of success that can look so differently for so many people. So without further ado, enjoy my conversation with Cobi. Yeah, dude.
Yeah, man.
So you're tired. I'm tired. I didn't have to play a show last night, but you did, and it was really good.
Yeah, thanks, man.
How did it feel? That was the first one.
It was the first one of this little U.S. leg I'm doing, and first time back in Austin for a while.
Yeah,
since before 2020, and
it was a long day for you.
Yeah, it was a bit of a day. Yeah, yeah.
Do you? Has it been a while since you've had a day like that? Did it?
That's just tour life. You know how it goes, man. Yeah. That's just life on the road. And then, when I go to Europe, it's probably even worse because I get jet lagged, and then I hit the ground running when I go over there. Yeah. So it's kind of just standard, par for the course. Yeah, totally. When you go out on tour, you got to run hard. It's just the way it is.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an exhausting grind. A lot of people don't know how tiring it can be.
Yeah, especially when you're on a perpetual building level, kind of just always building, So
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You have to wear a lot of hats.
Indeed. Indeed.
And make sure a lot of things are taken care of. And yeah, you got to find and carve out the time for you to like take care of yourself. And be like, now I have to like play my show.
Yeah.
I have to perform. I have to be in this space that like feels authentic, and I can't be worrying about logistics and guest lists and all of this stuff,
totally.
And so it's got to be a little difficult to like compartmentalize that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's just there's not enough hours in the day to do it all. So some things kind of, well, for me, like right now, I'm solo by myself, touring by myself on this run. And which just means, sometimes corners get cut because it's just only one person can't do everything.
Totally.
Yeah. So,
I'm curious, like how easy was it for you to kind of settle in right before your show last night and kind of like drop into that space that you need to be in?
Well, last night was okay because I had a moment to go collect myself before the show. Yeah, like one brief little hour or whatever to go. And I was lucky my spot was close to the venue, so that's always helpful. And the vibe in the room was good, and the sound was good. So, honestly, the sound is a big thing. Mm-hmm. Like, because you don't really drop into the room until like you get on stage and you start, playing music or playing. And if the sound is good, it's easy to just drop in and get comfortable quick. But if the sound isn't right, that can make it more difficult for sure. Especially when you're by yourself or like, it's just you on stage. So, you definitely want to have, or I definitely want to have the sound be as good as it can be. Yeah. But there's always sound, like little sound things, And like right now, I'm not touring with any in-ears, so I'm just doing stage monitors. So there's always a little bit of feedback and stuff. So it's never perfect. Yeah. But
that's new for you. I'm used to you. For the listeners that don't know, I used to be the tour manager for Cobi.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
Back pre 2020.
Yeah. So I noticed last night. I was like, oh, he doesn't have in-ears. I wonder if that's difficult for him.
No, it's not actually. The only difficulty really, I actually like it because I can hear the room and stuff like that. But the only difficulty is just when you get a little feedback. So I got the acoustic guitar, and even though I have like a feedback buster in the sound hole, it's still sound creeps in that acoustic, because it's so resonant. Yeah. And just with the way, my style, I have a lot of effects on the guitar, so that resonance really builds up, and there's no avoiding the feedback without in-ears. Yeah. So I'll get back to in-ears again eventually, but right now, as I'm touring by myself, it's just easier to just go. I got to simplify things. That's like back to what I was saying about cutting corners. Yeah. Like, it's much easier for me to just not have to worry about that and setting up in-ears and that whole thing and just get straight to the point.
I was super impressed. Like obviously I'm used to seeing you with a full band, and I didn't know what to expect seeing you like completely a solo last night. Yeah. And man, you really, really figured out your show as a solo entity, like using the looper pedal, using the octave pedal to like play bass lines. Like you were really controlling the EQ on your guitar to like manage that feedback and like it was super cool, man. I was having a fun time watching you.
Thanks, man.
Like I remember telling you before the show, I was like, I probably got to dip a little early, but like, I didn't. I stayed the whole time.
You stayed there, nice.
Because I was like, man, this is just it's worth the lack of sleep. It was really good to hear some of those songs that I'm really familiar with, and some of the newer ones that I haven't seen live. So my hat's off to you, man. It's
Thank you, man.
A very inventive and creative setup that you have right now.
Great, thanks. Yeah, and it's simple. It's super simple. Yeah. And something like you were saying, like sometimes a little bit of that feedback actually kind of adds to the vibe a little bit. Like especially on some of the songs that are a bit more dynamic and they get a little bit more rock heavy or whatever, like sometimes it kind of adds to the vibe of the guitar a little bit, just having that extra little scream or a little hum, Totally. So it's not always all bad, it's just how, if I could control it in the room, how well I can control it and whatnot. But Yeah, and as far as my setup goes, like, I've been live streaming. Well, since 2020, since pandemic, I've been doing a lot of live streaming because I've been touring. In my live stream setup, just doing acoustic live stream stuff, I just had a lot of time to like work out, acoustic arrangements to my songs and stuff like that. So that was a big part of, creating what my show is right now and simplifying it.
Yeah.
Just from doing live streams and also going over to Europe and touring over the last 3 years. Touring over there more than over here.
Yeah, you have, I want to get to that, but like, let's just do a little bit of backstory for our listeners. So you started out in a band called Gentleman Hall.
Yeah.
Yeah. In Boston.
Sure. Yeah. I don't know if I'd say I started out there.
Well, not started out, but that was kind of like your first.
But that was one of, that was definitely an era or a period of my life that was very significant. Yeah.
I guess I mean more like your professional, like coming out as an artist.
Yeah, it was definitely, I'd say maybe like a first step onto kind of like a national scene.
National scene.
It was
that
with
band was gaining
that
traction
group.
And
we had some good traction.
Notoriety.
We were doing really good in Boston. Yeah.
And then you made a decision to go out on your own. I want to know, like,
we were signed to Island Records too at the time.
Yeah,
so we had a record deal.
Island, you had management. You were doing a lot of stuff.
Yeah, we had a lot of stuff going on. But it was we had also been running at it for a while, and there was a lot of creative kind of differences going on in the band, and I wanted to move out west, and they wanted to stay east, and just a lot of we started just kind of growing, moving our separate ways, and then it was just kind of a natural evolution of life, Yeah.
So one of the things I love exploring on this podcast is like the process of the fear of starting something new and what it takes to go through that.
Yeah.
So like making that decision, you're in a comfortable place. Yeah, there's creative differences, whatever, that happens in every band, but you have this feeling that says, I know what I want to do, and it's this other thing, and it takes this leap, right, of faith.
Sure.
And probably like going against probably some people in your life that are like, I don't know if you should do that. Like,
there were some people telling me like, oh, don't do that,
Yeah. You got a good thing going here. Don't rock the boat. Like, what is that? What did that look like for you? How did that feel to like trust yourself enough to say, I gotta do this?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like any other stepping into the unknown. I think when you feel that sort of yearning for something and you're kind of scared to do it, I almost feel like that means like you're on the right track.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you got to take risks in life. I mean, because like I didn't want to look back and be like, I wish I would have done that. I wish I would have tried to do that. So, and that's where I was at the time, is like, I didn't want to look back later and be like, I didn't do what I wanted to do because I was afraid.
Yeah.
So.
Which so many people do in life. I mean.
Yeah. And I just find the universe like kind of rewards you when you take proper risks.
Yeah. There's a great quote, that everything that you've ever wanted is on the other side of fear.
Yeah.
And
100%.
I believe that fully. And I try to live my life where it's like when I find that scary thing, that's like kind of the metal detector being like, this is where you're supposed to dig.
100%. Yeah, 100%. You need to study your fear.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need to study it and ask why you're afraid of it. And then, go do that thing anyway.
Do that thing, lean into it.
Yeah.
Push through the fear.
Yeah, because that's where the growth is.
Yeah.
Regardless of what it is,
Totally.
Yeah. But that's not, I mean, that said, that's not easy. I mean, there's a lot of things in life that, you might not have a choice and you got to face it down anyway.
Yeah.
It's just, you just got to do what you got to do. So.
Yeah, it's super difficult. And I think a lot of people, stay stuck behind that door of fear and like never open it and see what's on the other side. So,
I mean, at the end of the day, you got to follow your heart, follow your gut, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's your intuition, like talking to you, you know, your higher self, I think. Yeah.
So you made that leap, you pushed through that fear and you went solo.
Yeah. And moved.
And you moved.
Yeah.
From the East Coast to the West Coast.
I did. Yeah.
And it paid off pretty quickly.
It did. Yeah. It took a minute. Well, it took about a year.
Yeah.
I suppose that's pretty quick.
In the terms of music, that's pretty fast.
Yeah. Yeah. But, you know, it's not a straight line either.
Yeah.
You know, I had a nice string of luck there. And then, you know, some other things came and derailed that a little bit. You know, like my dad got sick and passed away.
Yeah.
Not long after. And I ended up canceling some tours to help take care of him while he was sick, and thinking to myself, oh, I'll just be able to, you know, just go right back out on it.
Yeah.
And then that was in 2019. And then just as I was starting to get back out, then the pandemic happens and shuts down, and then boom, everything drops. And then those opportunities just never came back, you know, the ones that I canceled to help take care of my dad. Those opportunities did not come back. So that's how life goes, you know. At least for me, it's not a straight line, you know.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's definitely not a straight line. And I wanted to reflect back on just like when you released Don't Cry for Me, and it kind of blew up in this really, really big way. It was like one of the most streamed songs on Spotify worldwide. You were on Kimmel, Fallon.
Yeah.
You were on Fallon. It's like you had this really big moment. What was that like for you? Like, especially talking about what we were just talking about of like, I'm taking this leap. I feel like this could be something. And then to have that amount of success kind of like shoot you forward. I mean, what did that feel like at the time?
It felt like it was a long time coming, and it felt like it was, you know, a bit of destiny or whatever, and it felt right. I mean, it felt good, but and with all the success with the streaming and the song and all that stuff was great, but it was just like a first building block. Yeah. And, you know, it definitely didn't like launch me into international stardom or even national stardom, you know, but it was definitely a good stepping stone. Yeah. You know, so, and I still eat off of it now. So yeah.
Which is a huge gift.
Yeah.
And yeah, so, you know, you kind of, you know, you're in a band, you kind of take a step backwards so you can take a step forward on your own. Yeah. You take a big step forward, then you once again take a step backwards.
Took 10 steps forward and then 9 steps back or whatever. Sometimes 11 steps back, you know.
Which again, like you said, like success and life is not a straight line, you know.
No.
And I think a lot of successful people, when you look at their path, you know, it's filled with steps forward, steps back, ups, downs, highs, lows. Usually we only get to see the highs. You get to see the highs, yeah. And that's what everybody celebrates.
Yeah, sometimes you see people's lows, man. Like, you know, you see a lot of these recording artists or whatever, you know, they have like all this huge success for a couple years or whatever. And then, you know, 5 years later, everybody hates them. Yeah. Or whatever, you know. So... Yeah.
It's up and down, but you're doing the one thing that a lot of people don't do is like persevering, and you're continuing to push forward. Continuing on the path. And I know a lot of musicians, including myself, who have had, you know, success, a record deal or management or a licensing deal, and they've kind of had a moment where things, you know, were looking really good, and then, you know, maybe the label goes away. Maybe people aren't as interested anymore, and then they just call it.
Yeah, it can easily happen. It happens to a lot of people. Yeah, 100%.
So it's it's encouraging and like really cool to see the people out there that just like aren't gonna stop. you know?
Yeah, well, this is it. I mean, this is what I do.
Yeah.
So, I mean, regardless of whatever my circumstances are, this is what I do. This is what I'm good at, and that's never going to change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and I know that about you.
Yeah.
Like, you are 100% a musician. You know, like, I know a lot of people that are musicians, but they, like, are totally comfortable, like, getting a 9-to-5 job and, like, you know, doing that and just dabbling in music. And, like, I've met a handful of musicians in my life that, like, they live and breathe making and creating and performing music, and, like, they just can't do anything else. Like, that is what they're meant to do.
Yeah.
And you're one of those people, and I really love that about you.
Thanks.
Yeah.
But for better or for worse sometimes, you know.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's a blessing and a curse, I think.
Of course,
for some people, you know, like, I have the guitar player in the band that I was had a record deal in the early 2000s, like, was one of those, like,
yeah, that's right. What was that? What was the group you were in?
Trigger Point.
Yeah.
But he would, like, almost get ill if he couldn't touch his guitar for, like, 24 hours.
Oh, really?
Like, he was just like, he couldn't not play. And he's still that way.
Yeah.
You know, like, just can't not do the thing.
Yeah. Well, for me, I'm in a place where I can step away from it for periods of time.
Yeah.
Because I just got other things in life that are more important, you know, so, and, you know, I've been doing it for so long that it is like my second nature, you know, pick up the guitar or whatever, and, or be in the studio. And, but there's other things in life too. So.
Yeah. You are a dad.
Yes. Yeah. Father of two.
You have two little ones.
Yeah. Yeah. Two young ones.
How has being a dad changed being an artist for you? It's given me a deeper why I'm doing it. Like, you know, to put food on the table, you know, that's really it. Now it's like, I don't really care about the noise or anything else or whatever. It's just, am I putting food on the table or not? That's just really what it comes down to. Yeah.
Yeah. It's bottom line.
Totally.
Yeah. So, it just sets your priorities straight. Yeah.
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 Does it make it harder to be gone?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
You spend a lot of time on FaceTime?
I wish, honestly, I wish I had more time, but then, you know, it's tough with schedule, you know, especially when I'm in Europe, it's a 9-hour time difference. So literally like an opposite day, you know, so it's hard to catch them before they go into school or just before they get back or whatever. So, or just before bedtime, you know, or, you know, I'm running or I got sound check or I got, you know, the show. So it's tough, you know, it's tough. I got to make time to call and check in and all that stuff.
Yeah. So we talked about, we kind of touched on the struggles of the industry a little bit. Like, the music industry is a wild place and it's not always kind.
It is. It's a bit of the Wild West, isn't it? I mean, the part of it is there is no industry. Yeah. I mean, like, you can do music however which way you can do it. You know, I mean, there's so many ways to skin the cat, as they say. Like, you know, a lot of people get caught up in record deals or, you know, A&R people and what they want or trying to please some outside body. And it's really not about that. I mean, the whole industry is just about you and your ability to build an audience, you know, however that works. And nowadays it's, you know, easier than ever to reach people, and you don't really need anybody to reach people nowadays.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and it's not really top-down media anymore. It's not really about like getting on this or that, you know, although those things can help. You don't need that to succeed. You know, I mean, people succeeding on TikTok or YouTube or whatever, you know, in all kinds of ways. So I really think just being, you know, not innovative, but just strategic in how you're working your business and how you're making money. Cause there's just so many ways to do it online now that you don't really need anybody.
Yeah, it used to be impossible to have success as a musician without getting a record label deal.
Yeah, and not just, there's so many ways to make money, especially if you can do some decent streaming numbers, you know, you can, and you own your masters, you know, can sell all your merch online now. You don't even have to ship it out anymore. They can have people just do all that stuff for you. Just put the designs up, you know, and then there's things like with live streaming, you know, there's lots of ways to make money. So it's not really, I don't even think of it as like a music industry. It's just about your own industry. You just kind of building your own, you know what I mean? And then if it makes sense for you at some point to team up with some partners, then you can do that, you know, but you don't need to necessarily to get out there. And
it's definitely makes things easier, but it also
can. Sometimes it makes things harder.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes there's just too many cooks in the kitchen, or A&R guys, you know, don't want to put out your record, and then what?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So sometimes it's not always easier to, you know, be on a label or have all these things that people, you know, think are going to help them so much. You know, you gotta have your own things in order, and you gotta have your own ability to make a living without any of that stuff first.
Yeah. I know a lot of artists that take a step back when they get a record deal because they're not good at working in that system with so many cooks in the kitchen and like having so many voices commenting on what they should be posting and what they should be doing and which singles should be released, and you know, and so it can be really difficult for some artists.
Or what song you're going to put out next, or who's producing it, or whatever. And
the mix, and like,
everything.
We don't like that mix. We want this mix, and so and it can really
drags things out in a world where things are like, you know, it's better to sometimes to just keep going and keep the momentum versus, I mean, every situation is different, but just in today's world, things are here today and gone tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you don't want to drag things out too much. And I find that sometimes, you know, being on a label, whatever, that can happen.
Yeah. It definitely slows things down.
It can. Yeah, it can.
Like, they work in years, not weeks.
Yeah, but then on the flip side, you know, like when I signed with 300 back, when Leor signed me, you know, when he was there when he signed me, Leor Cohen, and then someone like him, he came in and just plugged it in, you know. He flew me out to like Sweden, and I met with Daniel Ek from Spotify, and you know, just having people like that can sometimes exponentially push you forward at the same time. So, you know, it's not all bad, but there's a lot of luck, you know, who it is and what they can do.
Yeah. You can also get signed to a label and they cannot really care.
Well,
like
then
a lot of bands, they have a lot of artists, and they kind of pick the one that is like, you know, is having the best moment. You know, the buzz or whatever, the momentum is just taking off on one artist, and they all just kind of pivot.
Sure.
And the whole label will be like, all right, this artist is going.
Yeah, because they
only
have so many resources. Yeah. So, you know,
So that you kind of water the grass that's growing the most. And even though this grass might be like dying, they're like, it doesn't matter. We're on to something over here. So like, let's focus on that. So it can be tricky. It can also be extremely advantageous.
It can be. But then on the flip side, so like Leor signed me, got the song out, you know, my first single, it took off largely because of his influence. I think he helped a lot with that. And then he left the label like 6 months later after I signed. And then everything changed after he left. Yeah. You know, and he was probably my main advocate. And then he was gone, and then they didn't know what to do with me anymore. They didn't know what music, because it was mostly a hip hop label. Yes. Like I was the only singer-songwriter, you know, kind of artist on that label, and they were pushing like hip hop. So after Leor left, it was just mostly, you know, it was Kevin Lyles. He took over, and I don't think they really knew what to do with me after Leor left. and they didn't want to put out anything for a long time until finally I got out of my deal in 2020, and then I was independent and I could put out whatever music I wanted, which is a big change. Yeah. So,
which is super freeing because it feels like, you were kind of handcuffed a little bit in that situation.
Yeah, a lot for a couple years after Leor left. Yeah. So
that's got to be really frustrating.
I mean, it's not anymore. It was at the time.
At the time. Yeah. For sure.
At the time it was. Yeah. But it's all just lessons and learning and experiences. And then, now I've got to have the experience of being on both independent, being on major label. I've had a couple label deals now in my lifetime, and I kind of see how that works. And I don't know, I would never say never, but I really enjoy being independent. Yeah, it's great, especially having your own, just being your own label, and just making your own money. It's good.
Yeah, that is good.
It's good.
And a lot of artists are finding success that way, and just like using label services instead of like
and there's a lot of other things now, like distributors some are doing more full service, and there's just a lot of ways to go about it nowadays. So I think if you can do it independently, it's probably the best way to go. Owning your whole catalog, and if you can build it up enough, and then you can sell it later if you want. So I think now is a really good time to be independent if you can manage to pull it off.
It's never, there's never been a better time. Period.
Yeah.
And so
true.
That's any aspiring musicians out there that are thinking that they need a label in order to make it. You're thinking wrong.
Yeah, no.
That's outdated thinking for sure.
For a while now, I think.
Yeah. So I think that there are a lot of people that think that when you get a record deal, or maybe you get on Fallon, or you have a hit song on Spotify,
that's it.
That's it. You made it. The work is over.
Yeah,
and
no, that's not the case.
It's definitely not the case.
No.
I think those of us that have worked really a lot in the music industry and have seen a number of artists get signed or have a moment or whatever, and like that's just like the beginning. It's like
it's the beginning.
And so a lot of people think, oh, that's the finish line. And just getting a label deal, or just getting a big manager, or just having a big song come out doesn't guarantee success and like a long career.
No.
It's
no, nothing's guaranteed. If you've learned anything from this conversation so far, there's not one single thing that's guaranteed.
Not at all.
No.
It's wild. It's wild how many, like when I was in LA, I mean, a lot of people at the time, like back in my hometown, my band got a record deal, and they were like, oh, you're like famous now. And I'm like, no, that's not how record deals work. There's like 10 million bands, and then like 100,000 of them get a record deal a year. And out of those 100,000, you're going to hear of like 1,000. And out of those 1,000, only like 200 are going to become like
it may be
super well-known bands.
Yeah, maybe 200.
Maybe 200.
That's a story as old as time.
Yeah. It's like, and so, learning that myself just through the experience of it all. And I love, I don't know.
The rent's due every day when you're working. I think it's for any business that it doesn't really it's not exclusive to the music business or music industry. It's any business that you're starting on your own. It's like every day is day one. The rent is due every day.
Every single day.
Every single day.
Yeah. You can't stay fed on yesterday's bread.
Not really. I mean, sometimes you can, and that's a blessing, but you can't go out there with that mentality. Yeah. You're only as good as you were yesterday,
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. It's super cool to talk to you about all this stuff.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk to you about losing your father. Like, was that, I know that you took a step back to take care of him. Like, can you expand on what that experience was like for you? I know a lot of people at my age right now that are losing parents, and it's this world shifting event, you know?
It really is, man. It really is. Yeah. And, also I just, lost my mother last month as well. So I'm 2 for 2 with my parents now.
Not know that.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
That's pretty fresh too. So there's nothing probably, I don't want to say nothing, but it's pretty life-changing. Yeah. It really brings you face to face with your mortality when one or both of your parents go. And, like when my dad got sick and that whole thing started happening, that was probably my first experience with like really losing somebody super close, you know? And you know, you don't really know what to think of it. You know, you're just kind of overwhelmed with, well, first of all, you're trying to hold some hope that maybe the person can get better, maybe, if that's at all a possibility. And, you know, and then so you're going through the medical system as well, you know, trying to help them navigate that. And it can all just be really overwhelming. And then you're also, you know, you have the grief of, you know, even if they're not gone yet, they've lost a step or they've lost a piece of themselves to this, whatever they're going through. And there's grief in that. And there's a lot of stages to it, you know, as they get more and more sick and eventually they pass away. It all kind of unfolds in stages. And, you know, I don't know if you ever really get over the grief of losing somebody close. I think you learn to walk with it, you know, and to move through it, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
No, I mean, learning to walk with it, I think that really encapsulates the feeling that comes with grief, especially a grief so big.
Yeah, it never goes away. It never goes away. As a matter of fact, I might feel it more and more deeply as time goes on. Yeah.
Yeah.
And especially with just losing my mom just last month and it being so close to when my dad passed away. It's just like 6 years apart. Yeah, I mean, it really reopened a lot of stuff with my dad and took it to another level with my mom. And now, yeah, I don't even know. I'm learning still about it.
Yeah.
You know, I'm still learning.
Yeah, it's got to be a super heavy thing to have to process and to deal with.
Yeah, and I literally went on tour to Europe like 5 days after my mom passed. And, you know, spent 2 weeks over there running around. And it was heavy because, like, you know, it comes to mind in the moments where you're not busy. You know, like when I'm sitting there waiting for my train or whatever, or, you know, backstage before the show, and you have a quiet moment and it just hits you and you're just like, oh, man, you know. And, you know, fortunately, kind of when you keep busy, it, you know, it kind of forces your mind to kind of... But at the same time, you don't have time to really feel and process the grief.
Yeah, I think, that reminds me of a thing that a lot of people don't realize about touring artists and musicians is that, like, it's really hard to stop the train, even for something like your parent passing away. Yeah.
And like I did that, you know, like I said, I canceled a whole summer of touring when my dad got sick. And I never, like I said, those opportunities did not come back around and say, hey, we're waiting for you. You know, those things were gone after that. So, you know. The
enormous amount of stress and pressure that I've seen artists under where we're on a tour, there's, you know, press booked, there's all of these things happening, and like something massive happens back home.
Yeah, money's spent, money's on the line, money's spent, and you know your future money's on the line. You know, so you know I could not afford to cancel the European tour at that time, like right after my mom passed away. It was like, it wasn't even an option, you know?
And most people can't really fathom that. I mean, if you just have a regular job or whatever, it's really easy to be like, hey, I just had this massive thing happen. I need to unplug for
and it's
a minute.
months and months of planning, you know, for a tour. I mean, you start planning a tour 8 months out, 6 months out, you know, they're booking the tour, and, you know, it's a lot of planning and strategizing and everything. And then once it's locked in, you can't, you know, you don't want to back out.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. You don't get to say, I don't want to do this because I just broke up with my girlfriend, or my parents passed away. Like you know, it's a really, really challenging thing that a lot of artists have to deal with. And, was there anything that like helped you push through that moment? Like,
I think, you know, well, I had a lot of friends and family support, and you know, I've been very blessed to have friends and family support me in what I'm doing my whole life.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And then when my mom recently passed, I had just so many people like coming to my side to, you know, try to just send their condolences and, you know, let them know that they're thinking about me, they love me, and I mean, that really helps. So you having a village, having your community of people is, I'd say, utmost important.
Yeah.
And, you know, to lean on those people, you know, and I got my brother, so, you know, he and I lean on each other a lot. We talk all the time. We talk almost every day.
I mean, did the losing of your parents make you guys even closer?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah. Big time. Yeah.
It's, you know, talking about having the village and having your people, like, you know, you've been married for how long now?
Almost 10 years.
Yeah. That's you know, I'm just coming out of my first real long-term partnership.
You were saying that.
And I never understood like really what that meant until I was in it.
I don't think anybody does.
Having this constant witness to your life and vice versa, to be really fully seen and have this person just like present in all of the moments that matter, the moments that don't matter, witnessing your growth and your setbacks and your struggles and your victories. Like, it's such an important relationship that I'm so glad that I now have like some experience with a relationship like that. Like, what is that relationship for you? Like, how important is it to have that mirror and that steady presence by your side through all of this?
I mean, it's for me, like, a family's my rock. My family's just, it's my bedrock. Yeah, 100%. So, I don't know any other way to put it, really. It's my foundation. Yeah.
I think it, you know, I would imagine having that foundation makes it much easier to take the swings that you're taking, knowing that you have this support system and this.
Yeah, well, you know, when you have a family and you have kids, of course they're your support system in a lot of ways, but you know, you got to be the support system for them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, especially as the man of the family, you got to be, you know, you got to be the rock for them as well. So I think it also forces you to just to be that strong pillar, you know, and you don't really have time when you have kids to like worry about yourself too much.
Yeah.
You know, when you have kids, it's all about them and all about their well-being first, you know? So, I mean, that it, in a way, forces you to be strong and move through that stuff for them, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I assume it also helps put the ego in check. Like, you know, like my feelings aren't the most important feelings in this moment.
No.
Like, you know.
And I honestly found a lot of solace in that. Yeah. Like when my dad's dying and my mom, having my kids and just like focusing on their well-being and that really helped me get through it, honestly, because it took my mind from like thinking about it constantly to being shifting it to, and you know, kids are amazing, bro. I love kids so much. They just have such like a purity and a light that you can, once you like hone in on and you nurture that, it makes all these other things, you know, just kind of dissolve in a way, you know?
Yeah.
So
yeah, it doesn't matter how you're feeling.
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how you're feeling.
They want your attention.
Yeah, you focus on their well-being, and then they're happy and they're playing, and you know, you. I mean, at least for me, you know, I just I try to really plug into that energy. Yeah, and it helped me.
Have you been able to like tap in more to your like childlike state of playfulness
100%.
through them?
100%. Yeah. I mean, it gives you a second childhood in a way where you kind of get to live it through your kids. You know what I mean? Through a whole new lens of just being able to watch them and relate it to your childhood, you know, and, hopefully you can make it better for them than you had it as a kid, you know?
Yeah. I think children are like they're great teachers, because I think a lot of us have lost our sense of wonder and playfulness.
100%.
And we take ourselves way too seriously.
Yeah, and innocence and purity and you know, all that stuff is really beautiful, and it's really important, you know, to acknowledge and cherish and protect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for talking to me about that.
Yeah.
Get back to a little bit of music stuff. You've talked in other interviews about learning to appreciate nervousness, and that you like to lean into being nervous. Like, do you still get nervous before shows? And do you still enjoy that?
I don't really get nervous, but I do I don't get nervous before shows, and playing concerts doesn't make me nervous really at all. Doesn't really matter how big or small. I've done so many at this point that it's more like second nature. But what I do get is when I have a tour coming up or a big schedule, and I know it's going to be tough, and it's like the weeks leading up to it, you know, I do lose sleep before it, like thinking about it all and like going through it all in my head, you know. It's like this, and then, because when you're on the road, it's just like this, the next thing, and the next thing, and the next thing, and the next thing, you know, and it can be a bit overwhelming. So it's not the nervousness about the shows that I deal with. It's more just I don't know, maybe it's anxiety or a bit of unsettling feelings of all the travel, all the logistics, all the things I got to put my body through.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's probably what, you know, keeps me up at night more than anything else.
Totally. I wonder, like, if music and performing doesn't make you nervous anymore, is there anything?
I don't want to say, it definitely gets me like a heightened sense.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to call it nerves really, but it definitely is you know, a bit of a heightened sense of awareness that you experience, or that I still experience for sure.
Yeah,
but I'm not like sick with. I don't get like sick with nerves. Like I don't get like nervous if I'm gonna screw up, or you know, I don't feel that way. But I definitely get, you know, a heightened sense of awareness. You know, as the hours leading up to getting on stage, and then finally getting on stage, time slows down a little bit.
Yeah,
you know, when you start playing and in front of a live audience, because all of a sudden you're under a microscope.
Yeah.
So time kind of just like slows down in a lot of ways, you know, like 10 seconds feels like a minute, you know what I mean?
It was always
especially when there's no song and there's no music and like the in-between stuff, you know, or whatever. Like any moment of silence or any moment where you're not being entertaining on stage feels like so long, you know? Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah.
For sure.
Because you don't want to have 10 seconds of awkwardness up there can really change the audience perspective of the show. You know what I mean? So it's those moments that, kind of bend time in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always remember shows being so fast for me. Like when we had big shows, I remember walking out on stage and then it felt like it was over.
Sure.
In like
or it
2 seconds.
can speed up. Time can speed up, slow down, whatever.
Yeah.
But there's definitely a time dilation happening when you go on stage and people are looking at you.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's that, it's being observed is what changes it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like quantum physics.
Yeah, the quantum physics of like an atom doesn't.
Yeah,
like,
how it behaves.
It behaves differently when it's being observed. Yeah. No, 100%.
Yeah, it's very similar.
Yeah.
On stage.
Yeah. You talked about songwriting as tapping into something like bigger than yourself.
I just think you want to be a conduit as much as you can as a writer or a musician or whatever you're doing creatively. It doesn't matter. I think that's really what I mean by that is trying to just, if you're a songwriter, like what does a song want to do next?
Yeah.
And trying to just, like I said, be a conduit. And I think that's really the key to any kind of creativity.
Yeah. I'm not trying to force it.
Yeah. Like you don't want it to, like, it's not about it coming from you, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to be like, oh, I made this.
Yeah.
It's like, no, it existed already. I heard it.
Yeah.
I heard it and I was just the vessel for it or whatever in that moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bob Dylan talks about that.
Yeah.
There's a really famous interview of his where they were like, how did you write that album? And he was like,
I don't know.
I've
seen
and
that.
I could never do it
He's
again.
like, I couldn't even do it again.
Yeah. He's like, I just was there and something came down and told me these are the songs that need to be written. And that voice doesn't talk to me anymore.
Yeah. Cause it's not him. It wasn't really him doing it.
Yeah.
He just was a conduit for whatever stream of consciousness came through him at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, and that's consciousness in general. That's just how it's all streaming, from, the Most High, I suppose.
Yeah.
And all levels of consciousness. And sometimes when you're in that creative zone, you're just opened up briefly to like the higher frequencies, like the higher levels or higher streams of consciousness sometimes, and it comes through. Whatever in your ears or whatever, and
are there
you just try to move it through.
Are there things that you do that you find help you get into that state easier?
I think
that
it's
flow state of creativity.
Well, for me, I like to not have to like be anywhere or do anything. If I gotta like leave in an hour or whatever to get something started, it's like I like to just be available, and then. Make myself available in the space and, hopefully not have anywhere to be for a while, not have other things on my mind. If I got 100 things on my mind, it's like, I got this tour coming up and, we got to do all this prep work for it or I got to get this artwork for this song. If I got too many things that I'm thinking about, then I probably won't even bother trying to get in that space. I like it when it's just like, I don't have to think about anything else. And, I can just make myself available, and then hopefully I get in the zone. Yeah, and then making yourself available, meaning just like starting to throw paint at the wall too. Like you gotta start somewhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even if you're not inspired right away, inspiration will come as you start to put the work in.
Yeah, you can't just sit and wait.
Yeah.
And say I'm not going to start till I have a good idea.
Exactly.
You got to just start.
Yeah, you got to start
out.
somewhere, even if you don't like where it's starting. You just have to start.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the other thing is trying to take things to the finish line as much as you can, even if you're not inspired to do it. Often you find the inspiration somewhere in that middle or somewhere toward the end as things are starting to wrap up. It's like, oh, I know what the song is now, and now I know how to finish it.
Yeah.
And you get used to it's a muscle, like finishing your ideas. I think that's a big part of it too.
I think that's a really important thing to share with people is the art of finishing something that you start. I think it's super easy now, especially just like with so much access to home recording software and loops. Like you can just tinker with ideas forever and never really finish it and never really make a whole thing. Yeah. It's really easy to start, lay a beat down, kind of mess with something for a little while, and then just like move on.
Yeah, I also find for me, like tinkering with stuff is kind of, it's the nemesis of finishing things. You know what I mean? Like I don't like getting too nitpicky about sound, this or that. I like to just like get in the flow and try to finish things hopefully as fast as I can. The longer something draws out, I might be inspired for a minute. If it's drawn out and I'm not finishing it fast enough, then often, I'll lose interest in it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think getting that,
because you over tinker with it.
You're getting that speed and just like getting comfortable with things like being a little quirky or whatever, or not being perfect, or I think that goes a long way.
Yeah.
Yeah. With finishing.
Yeah. Because people are never going to hear that stuff. Like, if you notice.
And often they become part of the music. They become musical.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like little things. And so, you know.
Some of our favorite records like have so many imperfections on them, and like they wouldn't be the same without them.
Sure. Yeah.
It's it's an important thing to keep in mind as a creator trying to just get things out. I feel that way with this podcast. It's like
put it out.
Yeah, just put it out. It's like don't over edit it, don't overthink it. Just like get it, do it,
put it out, and then put out the next one, and then put out the next one, and then do the next one. And once you've done 10, you'll have more data to work with. Yeah. And you can look back and be like, oh, this one did better. I wonder why. Yeah. Or why did that do better? Or why do I like this one more? Or then you do another 10, and then before you know it, you've done 30, 50, 100. And then you're probably onto something by that point,
Yeah, it was one of the barriers to entry, and I've talked about it on other guests already, is just like this idea that you got to be perfect right out the gate. That's like an impossible thing to achieve,
Yeah.
So you just have to you have to do that. We learn by doing. Yes. We learn by failing and repeating and trying and exploring new things. And so. Yeah.
I mean, failure really is only giving up, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you don't give up, you never really fail, really.
Oh, that's true.
I mean,
yeah,
because you're still working.
Wise words. Wise words, dude. You don't fail unless you quit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Giving up is really the only true failure.
Yeah. No, I think there was an interview with Seth Rogen who was talking about like actors finding success in LA. And he was like, the majority of the people that I know that make it just never stopped. They never gave up. Yeah. Yeah. And like they probably shouldn't have made it, but they just kept going. And like a lot of really talented people come into the music business or into the film business and try to be actors or whatever. And they just don't have the long game in them. They're like, hey, I'll give this 6 to 8 months.
Yeah. And talent is a small piece of the puzzle.
Really. It's a tiny piece of the puzzle. Yeah. Yeah. Persistence and just continuing to show up.
The work is really where the talent lies. I feel like your ability to do the work is the talent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not always the most successful people that make it. It's the people that.
It's not always the most talented people that make it. Yeah. Yeah.
It's not always the most talented people that make it. It's oftentimes the people that are willing to outwork everybody else.
Yeah, it's all about
just
that.
Continue to consistently show up. And being easy to work with also really helps. Like being somebody that people want to root for. Sure. Like, oh man.
Yeah, not being a dick.
I hope that dude gets there. And like, if I ever get the chance, I want to help him.
Yeah, sure. Sure.
You know, and so that's super cool. I don't say this lightly. I know I've known and worked with a lot of musicians in my life. I would say that you are up there as one of the most talented, like naturally gifted musicians that I know.
Thanks, man. But it's like I said, it's really just the work I put in.
Yeah, you put in a ton of work.
So much before anybody nobody even saw. You know. Yeah. So.
Yeah, you went to Berkeley School of Music.
Before that, even I started young.
Well,
man.
You started really young.
I started playing
in
open mics, and I started playing open mics in my hometown when I was 11, 12 years old. Yeah.
And like you can shred on guitar with the best. Like go head to head with some of the best guitarists out there. Period. Full stop. You're a multi-instrumentalist.
Thank you, brother.
A great songwriter. You're a great singer. Like it's almost unfair how good you are at all of these things. It's like save some for the rest of us, man.
No, but I put in the work, bro. Yeah. It didn't just come overnight. I mean, I definitely had. My ability is I can hear it in my head. You know, so if you hear it, whatever it is, but
a lot of us can hear it and we can't.
Well, then you just got to put in the muscle to do it.
Yeah, but I think some people just have this gift that others don't, you know, like a Jacob Collier.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Absolutely.
You know,
absolutely.
Like they see music in a way that no one else does.
Yeah.
And I put you in that category of like, yeah, you just understand musically the science of it and like how to get the voice out of your guitar, you know, like understanding the relation of different instruments in the track, understanding songwriting, lyric writing. Like most people are only good at one of those things.
Sure.
You know, if they're good at them at all.
Yeah, true.
You know, so like it's super impressive. I was super
Thanks, man.
Reminded of that last night seeing you live, of just like how incredibly gifted you are musically.
Thanks, man.
And
appreciate it.
I think like what you were talking about earlier, like this tapping into the divine. I think some people are just like, you know, cosmically channeled to be more of a conduit for music. You know?
Yeah, 100%. Like, and for me, I wear so many different hats because I've been lucky enough to just have so many different experiences. You know, like when I started just on guitar, and it started with just me and my guitar in my bedroom and my CDs and some VHS tapes, you know, of some of my favorite musicians or whatever that I could find at the local record store, you know, and it was just like rewind, and it was just me and my guitar. So it started with just the guitar, and then I started working with a mentor out of my hometown. He was an older musician in the town, and he started playing with me and really encouraged me to start singing. So if it weren't for him, I don't know if I would have even been a singer. And then I was able to, through working with him and playing shows and playing gigs with him at a young age, I was able to develop my voice. And then later when I moved out to Boston, I met all the guys from Gentleman Hall, and you know, a couple of those guys were studio rats, like Gavin, the other singer-songwriter in that group. You know, he was brilliant in the studio, and I remember going over to his house, and he had his whole studio set up in his bedroom. And before that, I was always like going to a studio to record. You know, I didn't even have a laptop, you know, at that time, or a computer at home. So I'd have to like go find studio time somewhere, or it's like some college kid had a studio, you know, there was a lot of music production colleges happening around that time when I was kind of entering college or whatever. And so, you know, a lot of my friends were in, you know, music school, and they'd have studio time or whatever. They'd be going for production or whatever. So, you know, I have to call a friend and, you know, get a couple hours of free studio time and go in. And, you know, I didn't really know how to do it all myself until I met Gavin, who was the gentleman who was in Gentleman Hall, and seeing him just like build out his bedroom into a recording studio and then also just work on songwriting. He was also a great songwriter. And so I was able to take some of that and learn a lot of that stuff like through Gentleman Hall.
Yeah.
And then Gavin introduced me to his friend who he would always write with at the time. His name was Michael Ramo, who ended up becoming my really good friend and songwriting partner. And he's like one of my favorite lyricists of all time. Like he's just has this gift. He's from LA, but he was living in Boston at the time. And he's actually a rapper, but he's a writer too. And he would always write with us in Gentleman Hall, and we'd come up with melodies, and he would just put these amazing lyrics to some of the melodies that we'd come up with. So I got to watch him and how he would work as a lyricist. And I'd say up until that point, like I didn't even consider myself a lyricist at all or a producer. You know, I was at that point, I was just like, I was a guitar player and a singer, and I had some of my own songs. Yeah. But you know, this is like my late teens, maybe going into my early 20s when I was in Gentleman Hall, and you know, seeing those guys and working with those guys really taught me a lot of other skills. And seeing Mike write lyrics the way he did, it really like inspired me to want to get my lyrics better. And working with those people and working with all kinds of people. And you know, after signing with record labels and publishing deals and stuff like that, you get out there and start doing writing sessions with a bunch of other people too. Yeah. So I've been doing sessions for years with whoever. You know, you walk in a room and you meet them once, and then you write a song, you record it that day, and then you might not see them again ever. You know, so that happens a lot. But that was really like the era of my life where I really got into recording, producing, and doing everything myself in the studio. And just learning the ropes and songwriting and lyrics and stuff. And that was the whole era with Gentleman Hall, learning that stuff. Yeah. Yeah. So
learning, being a student. And then putting the work in and applying that. Yeah. Over and over and over again.
Yes. Yeah. So all of my skills I attribute to just people I got to be around and watch and work with that had other talents that I didn't have and that I wanted to try to develop, you know? And like, maybe they have a natural gift at that, but you know, I just have, if I want to develop something, I do it, I put it in, and I'll do it over and over and over until I feel like I got a grip on it, you know what I mean? And then I'll keep doing it.
But yeah,
until you master it, you know?
You got to surround yourself with people that have the skills that you
100%.
that you want to learn.
Yeah. So like I said, you know, a lot of these things I didn't just wake up one day and I was able to do. It was like, you know, I watched other people. If I didn't know how to do it, I was able to find people, or I watched other people that knew what they were doing and took notes from them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Took notes and then went back into the lab and grinded it out.
100%.
Chopped some wood, man.
Yeah.
Chop wood, carry water.
Yeah. Yeah. So shout out to those guys, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Super important years.
Yeah.
So one of the big focuses of this podcast is like diving into what we really care about, right? And so what does Cobi really care about?
I first and foremost care about taking care of my family. Yeah. That's number one every single day. Mm-hmm. Waking up before I go to bed, whatever. That's always priority number one. Everything else comes second to that. Yeah, family's first, and everything I do outside of that is pretty much serving that purpose. And then other than that, I think just connecting with people, you know, relationships with people is really, really important.
Yeah. I mean, to me, that's one of the most important things. It's really why we're here.
Yeah. I mean, what else is there to do?
Yeah.
But with that said,
there's a lot to do.
Yeah.
It isn't connecting with people. I think the world is having a really difficult time with connecting with others right now. So
maybe so.
Connection is more important than ever.
Yeah. Well, there's a big divisive driver with just media.
Yeah.
You know, the mainstream media or social media, there's a lot of divisive driven stuff being peddled out, and just a lot of different ideas, you know? So I don't know. That's where I think, like I said, connecting with people talking with people beyond that is really important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for being on Who Cares, man. Tell people where they can find you.
Yeah, you can find me, of course, on all the socials. When does this come out?
This is probably not going to be out for a few months.
Okay, that's fine.
We can't push the tour.
You can't push the tour.
The tour will be over, so hopefully you caught it.
A good place to find me is YouTube or TikTok. I do live streams on there whenever I'm not on tour. I do live streams every Thursday night, about 7:30 p.m. Pacific time, Thursdays. And that's one cool place to find me. And then, of course, there's Instagram and stuff like that.
What are your handles on social?
It's all Cobi Music.
Cobi Music.
Yeah, Cobi Music.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I super appreciate you doing this, making the time. I know you have to get to Dallas
I appreciate you having me on. And like I said,
early.
it was a cool chance to reconnect and catch up with you, man, because it's been a while.
Like when I saw you were coming to town, I was like, I'm going to ask him if he wants to do this. And he's probably going to say no, but we're going to ask anyways.
Yeah, I'm glad you did.
You were like, hell yeah, I'm there.
Yeah.
And like even seeing you last night, I could tell that you were like, I wish I hadn't committed to this, but I did. So I've got to do it.
Well, when I say I'm going to do something, I do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm one of those people too. So like I really admire that and appreciate it. So yeah, thanks whoever's still listening. Thanks for listening to Who Cares. We're so glad that you're here. If this episode resonated with you, or if you know somebody who might need to hear it, go ahead and send it their way. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe wherever you're listening. If you got a second, leave a review. It helps us more than you know. You can find us on all socials at Who the Pod Cares, or head to whothepodcares.com to check out more. Drop us a note, or even send us a note if you want to be on the show. We're building this thing together, so thank you very much for being a part of it, and I thank very much Cobi for being a part of it. We'll see you next time.